The Movies of the Meek, where we watch made-for-TV movies and miniseries so you don't have to. From Gia to Xenon, Hysteria to Sybil, welcome to Movies of the Meek.
Well, it's really all about Baby and her family that go on a vacation to some sort of like dancing lodge in the early 1960s. And while at this dancing lodge, she decides that she wants to learn how to dance. So she ends up paying for her dance teacher's abortion to receive dance lessons. While that's happening, there's a subplot with her sister where she's like sleeping around, and then not really, but she has her love interest, and that doesn't go well, and then she ends up trying to bridge the racial divide at the lodge. And then on top of that, there's another subplot with her parents whose marriage is falling apart. And this is over about 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Where do we start, Max?
The first difference that happens between the original and the new one is that it opens with she's going to a musical called Dirty Dancing.
Yes, which threw me off because I had no idea what was happening.
Did the terrible green screen also throw you off? Because that fucked with me so bad. I was like, whoa, this is not a city street. Oh, boy.
Really, really bad. It was almost as bad as the New York Shots and High School Lover.
Oh, yeah.
It was that style, though, that like really, really like poorly lit green screen New York City.
And so it goes to a flashback. You know, the idea is that she's watching Dirty Dancing, and Dirty Dancing is based off of her life. And so her watching the play, she has a flashback to that actual time. And it goes to this sequence of them in a car together, and there's voiceover narration, and there's no voiceover narration any other time in the film. Nope. And on top of that, it also in the original film, there's only voiceover narration in the beginning. And they did actually change one thing, which is in the original one, she talks about, you know, she's like, this was before JFK got assassinated, which they changed the line to make it more made for TV friendly, which is, you know, they say, and this is when, you know, Jackie Kennedy was still in the White House. And I was like, that's polite of them. Yeah. When you first get to as you were saying, like the musical dancing lodge resort thing, they're doing so much like character descriptive exposition that it's like insane. And even in the original one, they didn't have that much exposition. Like the one thing, you know, the guy is helping her out with the books, and he's like, "You're one of those smart girls," and then her sister goes, "Smart? She's gonna cure cancer." And so right there, it gets into my biggest problem with this movie, okay? So that sequence is where they fucked up majorly, which is in the original movie, okay, when that guy is taking, I think his name is Bobby, when Bobby is taking bags out of the car, Baby helps him. She goes and she grabs them and she helps him bring her own bags into the resort, okay? Mm-hmm. And that's just a really nice, subtle way of showing what kind of person she is. She's willing to help people, okay? That's then reiterated later when she sees him with the watermelons. She helps him again, and you go, this is fine, this is in character. Mm-hmm. Where in the made-for-TV version, he's like, God, what do you have, a bunch of bricks in them? And she's like, they're books, because I'm really smart. And so it's one of those things where, you know, the beginning of it, you know, she's reading The Feminine Mystique, and she's talking about women's liberation and, you know, the idea of like the woman as the caretaker and the sense of like the homemaker, and, you know, how we need to be unshackled from these ideas. And so what ended up happening is they ended up using that type of narrative for the film, and they did it in a way that's really fucked up. Like, it doesn't pay off or do anything. Like, it honestly, like, her character and even Johnny as a character are shitty people. And you haven't seen the original Dirty Dancing, but
no.
But there's this weird thing that basically, so like, so Ayn Rand, when she came to the United States, wanted to write television and film. Okay, that's why she came here.
Mm-hmm.
And so she did. In the 40s, she was a writer of television and film all the way into the 50s. Okay. And she wrote The Fountainhead and got to see it turned into a major motion picture. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so after Ayn Rand, there was a huge wave of filmmakers that were against her views and wrote films that were very anti-libertarian and anti-capitalist. Okay. And Dirty Dancing is one of those movies. And this is actually proven and exemplified in the concept that basically it's like they like fetishize poor people in the same way that the Titanic does, where it's basically you see all these rich people and all the rich people are like having, you know, a mediocre time, and you get to see all the shitty problems with their lives, like all the wives are cheating on all the husbands, like they're basically paying the dance instructors like prostitutes and having sex with them, like all that stuff is in the underlying. And then you see Baby, who sees how these poor people love dancing and how, yeah, like they're not making a lot of money, but they love each other and they're having such a great time. And then Robbie is the exemplification of these ideals, where Robbie is this guy that like he's gonna become a doctor just like her dad. You know, he's going on to Harvard and he's gonna be this big shot and make money, and he's a piece of shit who knocks up Penny, and he's the reason that she has to have an abortion. And when Baby goes to confront him in the original movie, he, no lie, goes, "I think you should read this," and tries to hand her a copy of The Fountainhead. And she goes like, "Fuck you, you piece of shit. I don't need that. I'm with the common people now." And so they traded that narrative for what is, in my opinion, like feminism in a capitalist system, where, like you were saying, she's paying for lessons. In the original movie, she gives the money to Penny for the abortion, and she's like, "Listen, like, this is nothing to me. You need this, and I want to help people. I want to join the Peace Corps. I'm a good person," you know? And Johnny is like, you know, "Thank you so much. Like, you're such an incredible person." And then it's when Penny finds out, she's like, "The only day we can do the abortion is a day that, you know, we have to do this thing." And you know, Baby is just like, "Hey, like, I'm already helping you. I don't give a fuck. I'll help you again."
That's how it was in the original?
That's how it was in the original. And Johnny is like, "This is a good person," and they start dancing. There's 3 montages in a row, and they fall in love through that. Whereas in this version, it's like, she's like, "Let me buy the opportunity to observe your life."
She doesn't say that at first. She does come at it from, you know, she just wants to help. But as soon as they're like, I think Johnny like throws the money back at her, and he's like, "We're no charity case," and she's like, "Well, then just teach me how to dance then." Like, she's like, "I'm gonna hire you." I was like, so she already wanted to hire them. Like, she already had that in her head. Like, so that's insane.
Yeah. You know, and so that's the thing is, once
so it's
again,
a different
like,
character.
they're all completely different characters in my opinion, and yeah, like you're trying to contextualize it like in a new way and be like she's for women's rights and stuff like that, but you do it at the sacrifice of making it that she's literally willing to like buy relationships with people. Like she's no different than that old lady that basically like gives Johnny watches to fuck her.
Is she for women's rights in this movie? Because at a certain point, she, like, her and her sister have a heart-to-heart, and she just says, like, I just read because I want to sound smart. Like, she's actually not reading any of that stuff because she believes it or agrees with it or wants to expand her views. She's just reading it to keep up with, the appearance of being a smart, rich person.
And that's why I say that they completely fail with it, because even the narrative that you decide to change to go, instead of being like anti-capitalist, you change it to be like anti-Meninist, like it's a feminist narrative, and even that they give up on. It's like her sister goes, I read the Feminine Mystique and I agree, like we shouldn't wait for our Prince Charming, we have to seize life by the horns. And baby is just like, I did enjoy falling in love this summer.
I legit just saw her at like she shows up the first day with her family, sees Johnny and wants to bang him, and the whole movie is just her trying to bang Johnny. She pays for lessons to get close to him, and they bang and fall.
But at least she's not waiting for her Prince Charming.
That's
she's
true.
Going after him.
That's right.
She's paying for him. Now, one of the things that I also did enjoy, you brought up the whole thing with race. In the original one, there are very few black people or any other ethnicities at the lodge. And so I do like that they changed the ethnicity of the dance teachers. So you did actually have an Hispanic woman teaching the class, which was very nice. It was also Nicole from the Pussycat Dolls, which I loved. I also loved, did you notice Lando Calrissian as the music leader?
He is looking a little rough.
I was so happy though.
Yeah, it was cool to see him, but yeah, I mean all the minorities in the movie are like relegated to that staff cabin, like they're like all the peasants. Which
I mean,
sense.
that's the way the original was too.
Okay. But there's more diversity in this movie.
Yeah, this movie had even more. So my boy baby, like she sees this dude carrying some watermelons, and she's like, hey, you were the guy that was carrying my books earlier, how about I carry one watermelon for you? And he was like, this is out of character, you haven't carried anything yet. And she's like, I know, but I did in the other movie. And he's like, yeah, cool, thanks. And so she carries the watermelon in there, and she sees all the people dancing, and that's when I came to the conclusion that it's just like the old one, but just way more extreme. Because there's one dude, like when they open the door, there's literally a dude with a girl's crotch in his face, and he's like, and I was dying.
Was the original a musical, or were they just dancing to tracks? Because
they were just dancing to tracks.
Okay, because this definitely had more of a High School Musical vibe.
Yeah, and that was, one of the things that accounts for the 30 additional minutes of movie is the fact that basically everyone gets a musical number, and I feel like they were just trying to jumpstart people's music careers.
Like everyone.
Like everyone.
Oh my god.
I did love how they did a Soul Train line. Like, that was sick. Now, in the original one, when Baby and Johnny dance for the first time, she's seeing the style of dancing that's so strange, it's so erotic, so sensual, and when she sees it, she doesn't comprehend how to do it. And there's actually like a really funny, awkward situation that happens where it's like Johnny's grinding up against her, and she's like trying to figure out how to grind, and she's like moving like a robot. This movie has none of that, and she just starts grinding Johnny like so hard instantly, and that was unfortunate.
I had a hard time determining her age in this movie because doesn't she look really? So this is the little girl from Little Miss Sunshine. Yeah. And she just looks really young in this. Like, she looks like she's 14 years old. I was a little shocked when, like, she started grinding on Johnny. He looks like he's 30.
And her older sister looks even younger.
Yeah. Yeah, she does.
Like, her so-called older sister looks like she's 10.
Yeah.
And baby is supposed to be 18, and her older sister is age, but she looks like she's 10 years old. Other things that they added is they added a burlesque performance with like that old lady and Johnny. You remember that?
Yeah, that's another little subplot.
The dad is like, this is fucking trash, and the mom is super into it.
Yeah.
And that's where you're like, oh no, Bruce Greenwood, you're in another movie where your marriage is failing? Because that was the same thing that happened in Gerald's Game that we reviewed, and I was like, oh no.
So we've reviewed a couple musicals on this podcast.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm thinking back to Lemonade Mouth. I'm thinking back to High School Musical. And they look like they're singing in those movies. But none of the characters in this movie looked like they were singing.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be the music is in the scene and they're lip syncing to it.
Yeah.
But they do also have some sequences where they really do sing.
But it's all mixed the same, so there's no way to tell what the fuck is happening.
Yeah. Like the finale, Bruce Greenwood sings, and it's like...
Oh, dude, that is my favorite scene in the whole movie. I had to rewind it so I could make a gram out of it. It's so funny. Like, that exchange between him... So Johnny, like, makes amends with him, and... They like shake hands, and he's like, "I apologize.
Yeah.
You were forgiven. Thank you. And then he goes on stage, and then he just turns around and starts singing. It's like the funniest thing ever. Oh man. God, what'd you think about how much time they spent on the various subplots? Like, I felt like they treated some of them with just as much intensity as Baby and Johnny's plotline. Like, it just felt like there was like, I don't fucking know. It just felt like a lot, and it felt really bloated.
And that's, you know, I get it, just because it's, you know, you have a choice. Are you just going to do a shot-for-shot remake of it, or are you going to try and add your own thing? And so what they ended up doing is going, okay, what are all these little subplots that the original movie had? What if we try and add weight to every single one of them?
Yes.
Because the plot with the old lady that's paying for sex is such a minimal thing in the original movie. Like, it literally comes up twice the entire movie, and it's like it's insinuated at the one time, and then the second time is at the very end where, like, she's trying to pay, you know, for some quote unquote private dance lessons, and her husband gives Johnny the money, and Johnny's like, nah, actually, I'm fully booked. And Baby sees that, and she's like, yeah, that's my man. And so it's such a simple thing. Like, you didn't need 15 minutes of shit to get to that exact moment.
In the original, does she still plant the watch or whatever on Johnny?
Yes.
Okay, so that still serves that purpose, at least.
Yeah.
But she also serves like another purpose of breaking up Baby's parents' marriage. Like, she has a hand in that, which was very weird. I didn't understand her intentions there.
And none of that is in the original.
Okay.
Her parents' marriage is fine.
Yeah, this is like a major part of this movie is Baby's parents and like their relationship falling apart.
Yeah.
Like, one of the last scenes is fucking them on the canoe. Like, it was like, I was like, what the fuck is this movie?
More important is one of the last scenes is them fucking.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I was like, one, gross. Two, why do I enjoy this sex scene more than the one with Johnny and Baby? I was like, because these two old people that are actors that I genuinely enjoy should not be having a sex scene that takes away from the main character's sex scene. Like,
Did you feel
Come
that?
on.
Now, I thought the actress who plays Baby is a perfectly fine actress. She's perfectly attractive. But did you feel
That's
like
so nice of you.
yes? But do you feel like okay? So she's definitely a more I would say average looking girl. But everyone else around her, like Johnny, like their model quality, and it just felt very strange to me to see that like them side by side, them boning in that scene. Like I don't know, it just and her fucking like two front teeth, man.
so,
Like
so
that's how I knew
that
she was from that Little Miss Sunshine movie. I was like, I
that
know
was-
those fucking teeth.
that was my problem with having Nicole from the Pussycat Dolls in it, and especially like so they change one of the things where like the two of them teach her how to dance, and I was like, okay, how's she gonna fall in love with Johnny when you got this smoking hot girl from
Yeah,
the Pussycat Dolls there the whole time? I was like, you're completely defusing the situation. Like, what are you thinking? But I thought they were both hauntingly average-looking people.
Even
like,
wait, Johnny too?
oh yeah,
Well,
like compare him to Patrick Swayze.
oh, I mean, there's no
and it is
comparison
a
there, Max.
joke.
It is a joke.
It is a joke.
He has great hair though, I will say, Johnny.
Oh yeah, it was intense.
And he's still ripped. He's almost as ripped as Patrick Swayze. But
yeah, the one shot where he's waiting to pick her up in the water, and you see his shredded abs. I was
Yeah.
like, damn.
so he put the work in, but he's no Patrick Swayze. But
He is no Patrick Swayze.
but she looks like, I mean, I don't want to be mean, but it looks like they just like found a girl in Walmart and they just kind of pulled her out and they were like, "You want to be in this movie?"
And that's my theory, is that I think they picked her because that's the demographic they were going after.
Like teen,
You know?
and she looked like she was
Like
14 years
old-
old.
I was thinking like, they were going after like 40, 50-year-old moms that could like see the younger version of themselves in her,
Yeah, I could see that. And again, like she was fine,
Yeah.
But like it just, I don't understand why you pick like super hot people and then you like, super hot actresses and then you pick like super average looking actresses. I don't know.
Super average.
Yeah. But and like everyone that was in the staff party, like they were all beautiful people.
Yeah. Yeah. And and so that's the thing with the original one. Like the original one was like a beautiful cast, and then all the people that were like the snobby white people were like really well-known actors. Like it's a great cast, and then all the people that are in the love narrative are like attractive looking people. Like it made sense that this would be an appealing scenario for you to put yourself in, where I think this one is more like it makes sense for like anyone to, I guess, put themselves in.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think I should watch the original. I think I'll enjoy myself.
It's also way shorter, so you're committing
Yeah.
less time.
I watched the from the original, the nobody puts baby in a corner scene, and
Yeah.
it was so much better than this version. Max. Like how bad was that scene in this movie?
It is terrible. Now, one of the other things is the character Neil. Okay,
He's like the dorky guy. That's Neil, right?
so he's the owner's son that the owner's trying to set up with Baby. Okay, Neil in this movie is way nicer than the original one.
For most of the movie, and then he's the reason why Johnny gets arrested for the watch, because he sees completely out of character for him.
Yeah,
But you're saying in the original he wasn't
he was
character.
even worse.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it made sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because in this one he's like, oh yeah, I completely agree, like with your pursuing of going to college.
Yeah, he like
and,
helps her out a couple times, and
Yeah, he's
super
a
nice.
great guy in this movie.
I mean, obviously he wants to get with her, and their parents want them to get together, but he never seemed jealous the whole movie. Like he knew. I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
And I don't know where he calls the cops on Johnny. So. Fuck me.
But moving along through this dumb plot, so Penny needs an abortion, and so they're going to have Baby learn this dance routine. And so they decide to teach her, and instead of it being this beautiful romantic moment between Baby and Johnny, Penny is doing it, and she does this amazing thing where she's making fun of Baby and talking about just how she has no rhythm and how she's a loser, and then she goes, dancing comes from down here, and points to her crotch after she made fun of Baby for just being two in her head. And they get into the whole thing where it's like, like the lift, it's so important. They gotta do that lift. They spend all this time practicing the lift. They do it in the water. They do it everywhere. Like, the lift is so important. Yeah. And then when they perform the routine, she chickens out and she can't do it. Yeah. But everyone loved it. The performance was still
completely
great.
Fine. There was no repercussions. It was just like, you still did a great job, Baby.
Yeah. Now, one thing that I will say that they kind of did a good job with is that they did set a timeline for it, and they did set, like a goal for the film. And so Baby says that she wants to dance at the end of the season talent show. Mm-hmm. She doesn't say that in the original.
Oh, really?
In the original, she just wants to have a lovely spring-summer romance. That's all she cares about, and that's really the only narrative of the film. All the dancing that happens is just kind of coincidental, And so this movie very clearly sets these boundaries and sets these things that they're moving towards. Now, so they do a great job. Johnny's like, you were so great out there. You did all my moves. You did everything you were supposed to. You did so good, girl. You did so good. And she's like, I can't believe I did all the moves. I'm sorry I didn't do the lift. And he's like, baby, you were so great, baby. Baby, you were so good. And then the post-abortion scene is super dark, which is Bruce Greenwood has to go and fix the abortion because it was botched.
Dude,
and
wasn't that the weirdest cut ever? When
he looks at Johnny, he's like, you should be fucking ashamed of yourself.
Yeah, dude, he goes off on Johnny. But when I forget who gets them, like tells them that Penny's back and she's sick, but it's like Baby and Johnny are like running towards the cabin, and then it cuts, like, I guess it was a commercial break. It's like this super tense scene where they're running back to the cabin, and it cuts, and then it picks back up with like Penny casually walking in and being like, hey Dad, can you come here?
Yeah. And
it like just deflated all of that suspense. But it is what it is.
Now, the dad tells Johnny, he's like, you can never fucking see my daughter again. Stay away from her. And that's when he tells his daughter, he's like, I don't even know who you are. And so Baby goes to Johnny, and she goes, I just want one last dance to remember you by.
Oh my God.
Which is one of the worst things that's ever happened in a movie. But that's when you have these parallels of the two relationships. The parents is falling apart, and then Baby's is only growing stronger. She tells Johnny he should be on Broadway. And it's terrible, and I hated it. It
Yeah, I mean, I would say like most of the dialogue in this movie was fucking terrible. To be honest. I mean, I thought the parents stuff was fine, but like Johnny and Baby, man. Holy shit.
Yeah.
And then it's like her sister, Baby's sister, plays a part too while all this is happening. So what's the name of the kid who like almost rapes her?
Oh, Robbie.
And he's just he's going to Harvard, and he's just there for the summer waiting tables.
And in the original one, he's the one that gives Baby the fountainhead, or tries to.
Oh, gotcha. But he's also the one who knocks up Penny.
Yeah.
Causing the abortion. But
yeah. Because quote unquote, it was bound to happen at some point. Not mean dog.
Penny gets around. Very clear.
She doesn't. She says she doesn't.
Yeah, she does it.
She only did that She only let him raw dog her because she thought it was love, Zach.
Oh, from that guy.
Yeah.
From that guy, of all guys.
Yeah.
Baby sister hears I don't know what the black guy's name is, but he's like the only one allowed. Seems like the only one allowed in the lodge, apparently.
And Lando Calrissian is like, you better stay away from those people.
Stay away from that white girl. They have one scene together where they're like, he's like teaching her how to play ukulele, and then and they like have the hots for each other. So then at the talent show, they perform the best musical number in the whole movie. And apparently that like was a big moment because like Lando. Wait, who says it? Is it Lando or the owner? Is
the owner is like,
he's
times are changing,
and then Lando's like, for the better.
No. We end up getting to the point, which is what you were talking about, where Johnny ends up getting kicked out. Okay.
Yes.
Now that's because the old lady hid a wallet and some stuff inside of his place. Then and this is my favorite part, is that Baby ends up covering for him. She's like, he actually was with me the whole time, so he didn't steal that
we
wallet.
were banging that night.
And then they were like, well, we're still firing him anyway. Now, did you notice that really weird EDM song that played when he leaves?
There is, that modern. It was like there's another time where they play a modern song out of nowhere.
Like there's a whole bunch of remakes of songs from the original soundtrack, but that one is not in the original soundtrack, and it's just a straight EDM song.
Yeah.
Like it comes in, it's just like, and I was like, what the fuck is happening right now? It was so fucking bizarre.
Yeah.
That there's the montage while that song is playing is a montage of the time they had together, and I was just going, what is this? Oh. And so you brought up, how great that Bob Dylan song that the sister plays at that end, and one of the things that's also that they changed is that in the original one, the sister is, an exemplification of just like the anti-feminist model, where it's like she just wants a husband, she just cares about money, she just cares about that type of stuff. And so in the original one, the sister wants to sing, but she's a joke. When she sings, she sounds terrible, and she's an idiot.
Really? In this one, she's honestly the most likable character in the whole movie.
Oh, easily.
And because her, like, I don't know. I mean, it was just like, I mean, not only was she bridging the racial divide at the lodge, but she was also, actually falling for this guy.
Yeah.
And that song was beautiful, and it was just a good rendition. Fucking Baby just wanted to plow Johnny. That's all she wanted. And then she even said, like I was saying earlier, like she was like, I don't care about any of the books I read or any, like, everything's fake. I am a fake person.
And so at the end of the movie, she's talking to her dad. Her dad and her mom make up. They plow. They have a great time. They go to the dance. Baby's all sad and shit. And the mom is like, Baby likes this, Baby likes that. And the dad, he's like, he's learning about his daughter. And he's like, you know what? She's her own woman. Her name is Frances. And I was like, yeah, Bruce Greenwood, you're a good guy. And that's why the line, it doesn't make sense in the original one, in my opinion. And it makes even less sense in this one, which is nobody puts Baby in the corner.
Can you explain to me what that means in the original and what you think it means in this movie?
Because what I think it means in the original one is, she's in the corner, so she's blocked off. Like it's kind of like a boxing reference where it's like she's on the ropes, like she's stuck in a corner, she can't escape. She's not allowed to make her own. She's not allowed to make her own choices.
Those are the images. Like that's exactly what I thought it meant. Okay.
And so, it's one of those things where it's like it doesn't make sense in the original one just because of the fact that it's like she's in a position where like she could easily like get up and leave the table.
Is it
like,
referenced?
Like,
is it referenced in the original at all before it's
no.
said? Okay, because that's like a line that should be referenced somewhere. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Okay, so in the 2017 version that we watched,
it makes even less sense.
It makes no sense, right?
Her dad is supportive of her becoming her own woman, and like they're in, you know, a place where there's even more ability to get up and leave the corner.
They had already resolved their
once
issues
again, she's,
at that point.
Yeah, and she's not even in a metaphorical corner either.
Well, she's like near a wall. Maybe like nobody puts baby on the ropes or something would be more.
Like, I don't know. It's one of those lines. Like when I heard it in the original one, I was like, okay.
So and like I said, I watched the original Patrick Swayze line delivery, and it was a dumb line, but it was Patrick Swayze, and he fucking killed it.
Oh yeah.
But in this one, it doesn't make sense, and the guy did not kill it. Hey, you know where you put baby in the corner, and then he just grabs her, and then fucking like the worst fucking thing ever happened. Like that stupid song plays, and then the dad gets up and he sings, and that was bad. This was right after the Bob Dylan song too.
And then at the very end of the movie, they have the final dance, and they finally do the lift, and everyone's really excited. And it's whatever. And then I was more excited when Bruce Greenwood started singing. Because I was like, you know who actually had like a really solid narrative? Like the mom and the dad.
Yeah.
Because they went through way more trials and tribulations, and they came out stronger together. Dude, and, you know, Bruce Greenwood learned a lot about himself, and so yeah, he did have the time of his life, and he does owe it all to his wife. Yeah. You know,
this movie's really about him.
He like his plotline is so much better.
Yeah. That's my problem I have. Like that's my biggest problem with this movie is it's supposed to. I mean, the movie's it's supposed to be about Baby and Johnny, and it's not. It's just not.
Yeah, it's not. You know, and so then at the very end, you know, they do the dance and everybody's excited. They did the lift where, you know, Johnny lifts her up into the air, and then it goes to a musical where, you know, she's crying watching the end of this amazing musical, and then she's about to leave when Johnny stops her, and he's like, hey, how are you doing? And, you know, she's just like, you're amazing. I'm so glad you're on Broadway. And then, you know, he's like, you know, I mean, I owe it all to you because of this book that you wrote. And, you know, she's like, well, I'm glad you wrote this musical based on the book that I wrote. And then
based on a story that he lived.
Yeah. And then you find out that she has kids and a husband now. Yeah. And then the very last line of the movie is Johnny just going, keep on dancing. The movie fucking ends. And I was just like, this is the biggest piece of trash I've seen in a very long time.
I just love how like they say that she doesn't like reading. She doesn't read books. Like she's not. You know what I mean? Like I know I keep harping on this, Max, but the way her plotline ends is like she becomes an author and then writes this great book that is turned into a Broadway musical. Yeah. And then his last fucking line he says to her is "Keep on dancing."
Yeah, because she said that she's taking like a salsa class once a week.
Fuck that.
Keep on dancing, baby.
Keep on dancing.
Now it's time for some IMDb trivia and goofs. Deborah Messing was quoted saying, I remember being a kid when it came out and sitting in the movie theater and thinking, this is the first time I've seen a leading lady who isn't perfect. Which is very accurate in the new one, because, oh boy, is she gross. Deborah also said that the whole movie was really just to pay tribute to Patrick Swayze, who died of cancer in 2009. The lift scene was apparently rehearsed for months. Breslin said, I don't think I could have done this with anybody else in the world because of the amount of trust that it takes to literally just jump into somebody's arms and hope that they catch you. Prats, who played Johnny in the film, said he and Breslin started off practicing with him lying on the floor, holding her hands and lifting her up with his feet. I would lay on the ground and I'd just put my arms up and she put her hips right here on my feet. And Pratt said, and even just lifting my hand off the floor, you would think I was bungee jumping out of an airplane.
Oh my god.
By the way, Colt Pratt, who plays Johnny in the film, is a professional dancer known for appearing in music videos alongside Pink.
Oh.
All right, now for some goofs. In Penny and Baby's dancing scene, Baby has her dancing shoes and her Keds on for the same scene. At the beginning of the scene, she's wearing Keds, but then a montage starts where she's shown going back and forth between wearing Keds and dancing shoes.
Damn.
When Johnny is departing from the camp for good, he loads his luggage in the red pickup truck and kisses Baby goodbye. But instead of departing on the pickup truck, he jumps on his motorbike and leaves, leaving the luggage behind. As they're loading the luggage on the truck, his cousin says, "I'll drive down on Saturday," obviously meaning that he'll deliver the luggage to Johnny then. When Baby gets Johnny to come with her to see Penny right after his dance with Vivian, his shirt is open halfway and he is not wearing an undershirt. When they go to Penny's room, his shirt is open all the way to his waist and he's wearing an undershirt.
Ooh.
The first time Baby goes to Johnny's cabin, she enters through a screen door. The next time the door is seen is when Siegel's character beats on the wooden door, and the screen door is gone, never to be seen again. When the Housemans are driving to the resort at the beginning of the movie, the gear selector is approximately at the 130 position. This would reflect it's in park position. The drive position would be in approximately 3 o'clock position.
That is some attention to detail.
That is amazing.
Oh my god.
What would you like to do next week, Zach?
So, seeing the actress who played Vivian in this movie, I think it's appropriate to do Smart House next week.
Oh shit.
She plays the house AI in that movie.
Yeah.